Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about work hours. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, I have a coworker who is always the first to arrive and always the last to leave, and I'm starting to feel a little bit, I'm starting to feel some pressure from this. What should I do? So this is a great question, and the short answer is continue with your day. You see, there is this phenomenon in IT that I wouldn't even say it's just in IT. I think that this is just a general work ethics type of thing where someone who comes in early and someone who leaves early or leaves late may be perceived as doing more valuable work, or they're more committed to the company, etc., etc., etc. And sometimes this is absolutely true, but it comes from this idea that all the work that you're doing, and this is a little bit of a mental mistake quite a lot of people make. They believe that this, just because you are at work for a longer period of time, that the value that you are producing is actually higher, when in actuality it's not. It may show, one interpretation is that it may show that you have a higher commitment to the work that you do. That is absolutely true. But it can also be an indicator of something else. I have had two different coworkers that has this pattern, and I also have a few coworkers who felt guilty in this fashion. I'll walk you through it, but you should know that the mental mistake that you're making here is that this person is in some fashion outshining you. The only time they're actually going to outshine you is if you have a manager or you have some other person who really values that they are there for a longer period of time, but they might be making the same mistake. But if you're truly worried that this person is making you look bad or something like that, then I can tell you that then you've already gone down that slope where you're pretty much now in a competition with your coworkers on who is the boss's favorite. And if you want to play that game, staying late is not the best way to win that game. The best way to win that game is to produce business value, because trust me when I say this, if that person that you're working with who's staying extra hours and so forth, unless they produce something truly noteworthy, it's still going to be it's going to be a very nice gesture on their behalf. But the thing that would be truly interesting and truly valuable to the company is if they created some solution, or they made some significant impact on the revenue stream of that company. And if you can do that, even though you go home at normal work hours, you are going to outshine that person like that. Not a problem, because at the end of the day, it's not about the hours that you put in, it is about the value that you produce. So for the people that I have dealt with that has had this sort of phenomenon where they stay, one of my absolute most valued coworkers, I consider him to be a personal friend of mine, and he has taught me more about programming than any human being, anyone. I learned so much from from just a few years that I spent working next to him. He was a true, well, he's still working. He's a true senior programmer, and he has been working for many years. But what's interesting about him is that, and he did this thing as well. So he was there when I came to work, and he was there when I left. And I spoke to him about that. And I will admit, when I was a junior, I did feel a little bit stressed over this. I felt like, shit, maybe I should stay just a half hour later. And this happens in many, you're not alone. Like, quite a lot of people feel this, oh shit, this reflects poorly on me if I'm not investing as much, etc., etc. And at one time I spoke to him, and he explained that one of the big reasons that he actually stays late. Of course, he's concerned for the company, he wants to do a good job, but this is a man a middle-aged man who, he is not a junior in any sense of the word. He is truly emotionally secure and confident, and he said, the thing is that I'm not really good with typing. And then he kind of showed me, he used mostly his index fingers when he was typing. genius programmer. Like he had more contributions to that code base. I think he alone represented around 43% of all the commits and code changes or like innovations within that project, with the rest of us combined. Like he alone. And he's typing like this. And he said, this is one of the reasons why I feel like I should probably stay a little bit longer, because it takes me longer to type out things. So the reason why he was staying was that he himself actually felt guilty towards the company. He felt that he didn't give enough in the hours that he was there. And the second time I found this phenomenon was actually with one of my current coworkers. He explained the same thing to me. He was saying to me that I feel like I usually am so slow, and I feel like a little bit guilty that I can't produce as quickly as everybody else. I usually put in a few extra hours just to make up for the time where, you know, to make up for the time that I'm costing the company. And this is a beautiful gesture, but at the same time, this perspective is the exact same perspective that you have. They feel guilty not towards another person necessarily, like one specific person like you do. You feel guilty towards them because they're spending more time in the workspace. They're feeling guilty towards the rest of the company because they feel that in comparison to everybody else, they are slow. So it's a vicious circle, and someone needs to break it. Well, maybe your boss doesn't want you to break this circle, but if you want to get away from this competing with each other or feeling guilty in a circular situation, feeling guilty for this sort of stuff, someone has to break that pattern. And I believe that person should be you. So what I want you to take away from this is that if you feel this pressure that someone else is staying late and so forth, or somebody's leaving early, don't read too much into that, because it might be that this person who's staying late has decided that today I'm going to put in some extra hours because on Friday I'm going to leave early. Or the person who's leaving early and you're noticing, why are they going home this early? They may have already put in work hours on the weekend, or they may have been doing something else that you are not aware of that justifies them leaving earlier at that stage. So, try to talk to people. Don't sit there with you behind your desk and judge people silently and have this inner voice who's trying to convince you that, oh shit, something nefarious is going on here, because it might be the most innocent thing in the world. So just make sure that you talk to people before you make any judgment calls. And as the last piece of advice, get emotionally secure in yourself. You are paid for a certain amount of hours, and it is completely within your rights to go home at reasonable hours. Have a great day.